recording?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, my name is Shay Hicks. This is the Observation 3 video, the interview. We're going to first begin with, I guess, a quick round of introductions, and then we'll begin reviewing the application. So to start, my name is Shay Hicks. This is, go ahead. You're Mr.
I'm Mr. W.
I'm Miss T.
Mr. B.
Mr. J.
Miss K.
Mr. C.
And Miss E.
Alrighty, so to begin first, we're gonna look at our application to our school. It says, are you eligible to work in the US? Yes. Do you have a high school diploma or equivalent? Yes. May I ask where you went to high school? Oh, no, this is a good question. Apologies. You declare that this information is true. The questionnaire, list your experience with multiple phone lines. You've worked with companies, your current job included, you've made many phone calls. List your experience with daily contact in general public, customer service, teaching, handling parent communication. Next, we've got list your experience with working with children and parents. I worked with children and parents from infancy to high school levels. We'll talk about that part later. List your experience with Microsoft Office, computer programs. You've done Excel spreadsheets. That is awesome. You took courses in high school, used them your current job and over the years. Current job, you've used docs and sheets, and that is wonderful because that's all that we use here. Experience with general business, office, bookkeeping, and transactions. I manage my own business, managed money, handling data entry, documented behavior, and grades, and a variety of other things. So you manage your own business. That is wonderful. Well, it's good you're able to keep track of all of this. That's a big thing. Ability to multitask, handle more jobs at one time. You are a mother. That is awesome. Teaching, multitasking, just part of life. Help my children do their homework. Making dinner each night. Content mastery. I help multiple students with different subjects at the same time. That is hard to do. Often managing phones, computer work, and class management all at the same time. So you're familiar with the many hats that teaching can have. Ability to deal with interruptions. They're just part of life. Try to handle it accordingly to the best while maintaining class curriculum, and that is key to make sure that you are continuing instruction. Listing experience with email, internet, use email every day, wonderful. Experience with handling confidential information. You've handled IEPs, 504s, all of that information, so you're familiar. Oh, a nursing home to students, that's interesting. Organization skill level 10, I love it, me too. Experience working with Teams, none, it's a lot of coding. Experience with doing bulk copying as a teacher, I do this daily. Copy machine's your friend sometimes. Experience in binding machine, none. I really don't think we even use binding machines very often. They're there. Go to general questions. Specialized trainings you've received and where it was received. Front desk certification at that place, 2019, so it's recent. Any special honors, achievements you've obtained which would relate to this position that you are seeking. Any special circumstances in which it would affect your ability to meet the qualifications of this position. You do have some issues with heavy lifting, that's not a problem. Worked for school districts in the past, yes. Currently employed, why are you moving? That makes sense. No arrest or convictions, wonderful. Traffic violations, that happens. Speeding tickets are fine as long as it's not a record. License suspended. Wonderful. All of these look good. Going into that little paragraph that you have listed, I'm going to read that. I have a wide range of skills due to my background in education and nursing home care with some retail technology and food service, as well as my education as a cosmetologist. My skills include lesson curriculum and activity planning, administering accommodations, clerical work, managing phones and computers, experience in Microsoft Word, Google Docs, front desk skills, teaching and facilitating, wonderful, customer service, public relations, money management, training, other staff, case management, hospitality, monthly planning, and more. Would you be willing to attend any type of training suggested by your supervisor? Yes, all the training you can get, wonderful. Please describe an essay. We're not doing that today. And there is the information there. Wonderful. Does my hiring board have any questions about what she had submitted?
No, that's good.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for putting your time into that. I really appreciate it. And I like your background, clerical work with managing phones, computers, all the technology aspects of it. And that's hard to find someone who's ready to enter that area, especially with more virtual learning that we're doing today.
Yes, that's what I do now is the online course.
Online courses?
Yes, the kids are online in the classroom with me and I help them work through that, so.
Nice. Next, we can go ahead and begin the interview questions themselves. Would you like to start that off?
Sure, no problem. Hello. Would you like to tell us a little bit about your strengths and weaknesses?
I'll start with weaknesses. I have dyslexia and ADHD. With dyslexia, sometimes the kiddos think it's a little funny because even though I am an adult, I still flip my letters or my numbers. I'll writing on the board and they'll giggle. And I work with a lot of special needs kiddos, and I'm very open and honest about that. We're going to grow up and we're still going to have these disabilities, and it's not going to change that. We just have to manage them as adults, and you are perfectly capable of doing whatever you want to do when you grow up and stuff like that. You still work around those sort of things. Strengths, I'm a very hardworking person. I have a lot of passion behind the things that I do. I really enjoy working with kids and just in care in general. As you read, I worked with a nursing home as well. I've worked with preschool, stuff like that. I like taking care of people. I like helping people, and that's just something that I enjoy.
Thank you. Thank you. Next question.
Do you believe collaboration is an important part of this position? Why not?
I do. I think that when teachers collaborate, we can learn different techniques from each other and, bounce ideas off of each other. Or if we're working on a similar student and you find something that really works for that child, that we can incorporate that in our classroom as well. It's all a learning experience, and we can all learn from each other.
Thank you. All right, question number 3.
What were some challenges in your previous workplace, and how did you overcome those challenges?
This is something I've actually experienced in most workplaces that I've been put in. A lot of places just kind of throw me to the wolves with limited training on what they want me to do. And currently the program I'm working with right now, I got it 1 week before I got to see my students, and I had to just kind of figure it out as I went. But I was able to figure out, throw it into a curriculum, throw it into a grading plan and stuff like that. And now it's a very functioning system.
Nice. So you overcame those challenges independently. That's tough to do. Alrighty, now for question number 4.
What are some things that you feel like you are best at when it comes to this job?
I feel like I'm very good at connecting with the kids. Me and my husband both, it's kind of what drove me to this passion. We didn't have the best growing ups, and the district where I work at now, it's a poorer district. A lot of the kids are battling homelessness and other things of that nature, and the kids feel very comfortable coming and talking to me about that kind of stuff. I'm very honest about the hardships that I've faced. I feel like often assume that teachers have never had hardships or never been through anything. They think that, we're educated and perfect and that kind of thing. And so when we're a little bit honest about our lives with them, I think that they're much more willing to come and talk to us, and we're able to help them better through that.
That's right. Alrighty.
What,
Go ahead.
what motivates you?
That's a big question, so.
Big part of that is my kids and my husband. Me and him are both very determined. As I said earlier, we did have kind of hardships that we faced growing up, and we don't want our kids to ever experience those sort of things. So we're very determined to be able to give them all those things that we weren't able to have. And then again, helping the kids that I work with, I really enjoy it. I want to see them do well. I want to see them go far and attain whatever it is that they want in life. Just because you come from a place not so great, you're not defined by that, and you can do whatever you want. You just have to work towards it, and it is much harder without support, but if you're determined, you can still do it.
Nice. I'm gonna read to you next a snippet of my vision for the school. This is like what I would like to see everybody encapsulate. So kind of to just paraphrase it, we want for our citizen to adapt to diversity and consistently promote leadership and resilience. That is something that's it resonates with me a lot, because that's going to be the future that we're bringing into the world. So I'm just asking if you can get on board with that and helping students, again, adapt and try to promote those leaders and being resilient in whatever they choose to be whenever they leave our walls.
Yes, very much so.
Thank you. Next, we're going to ask question number 7.
Tell me a time when you and another coworker may not have seen eye to eye, and how did y'all resolve the situation?
And this is sometimes we see this in the workplace, so
Yeah.
you can think of something.
I do sometimes battle. I've had a couple people come across kind of rude to me just because I look younger and often get mistaken for a student. So I've had a couple other coworkers to be very rude to me, and I just kind of like, hey, yes, I am young, but I am here because I felt like I was capable of doing my job.
Yeah.
And I'm a very non-confrontational person. I'm a very nice person, so I just try to resolve it those ways and let them know that, like, just because I'm young doesn't mean that I'm not capable or anything of that nature. And I'd much rather us be able to work together than just have conflicts.
That makes sense. Thank you for that. All right. We're going to move to number 8.
Would you work outside of your job description to help a colleague?
Yes, that's actually how I got the position I have now. I started out as just a sped aide, but then because of the teacher shortage and sub shortage, sometimes it would come down to, hey, we need you to cover this class. And while I was covering classes, they were able to see that I'm very good at class management and keeping kids, docile when things are kind of crazy. So from there, they offered me the position I'm doing now, which is helping them with online courses and stuff like that.
Nice. Thank you. All right. Next, number 9, and this is more on that second part of that question.
Do you have any telephone skills or able to communicate to parents?
Yes, as a preschool teacher and high school teacher, I have had to make many phone calls home and just communicate lots of different things to parents about their students or their kid and how their day was going on, and if there's any issues, whatever they may be. So
Awesome. All right. Next, number 10.
Can you follow a lesson plan created by teachers?
yes, I've worked in a variety of places. Some provided those lesson plans for us, and so we just went by what they gave us, or in some cases I had to create them myself. So I'm very good at going by either or, creating it myself or going with it.
All right, next, I'm going to ask a question about best practices. How do you use best practices? And that can be like in classroom management and instruction and communication. So what do you feel like you follow through for best practices?
I am very, I'm very consistent. I like a lot of structure in a classroom. Even though kids think they don't like it, they really kind of thrive off of it. So at the beginning of the year, setting clear class rules, going over it with them, signing it, teaching them the proper, this is how we're going to enter the classroom. Even if you have to take a day and do it over and over again, we're going to do this until we get it right. And then, clearly showing them where we're gonna turn stuff in, how we're gonna do this, how we're gonna do that. And if they do have questions, again, they're just kids. So we forget, even as adults, walk them back through that, like, this is what we're gonna do. And just kind of, when you do have a issue in the classroom, trying to help the kiddos resolve it peacefully. And the more time they spend in class, the better, preferably. But, sometimes it does require a visit to the office.
Also with that, can you follow, like, if we were to give you, a slideshow of how we expect our students to behave in class, would you follow that one and have an, alternative, like, kind of add on to it?
I probably would, just because there's certain little individual details about, like, my classroom on its own that I'd throw in there, after the fact, like, these are school policies, but then this is also specifically for this class, some of the behaviors we need to be modeling.
Alrighty, next, the question 12.
Do you have any current certifications?
I don't have any teaching certifications. I do have a para certification. I have a lot of cosmetology certifications. I am licensed stylist. And then I do have the front desk certification.
Next, can you tell me how you became interested in the Spanish facilitator position?
They actually came to me about, I guess, I was just able to show them that I'm capable of it, and I'm good with working with the students. And so when they did need someone to fill that spot, I was the person that came to mind. At first, I was a little surprised, but it's just, again, one of those things. I figure things out as I go, and I've really enjoyed this past year working with the students and doing the Spanish and everything. So it's been a pleasant experience.
Part two of that, if you were to get your teacher certification, would you be interested in becoming an ESL certified as well? Or is that not an avenue you really want to pursue?
Probably not the avenue I would pursue. I really like working with SPED for the most part, and then I really like math and sciences, so I'd probably go more that direction, or even ASL. It's actually this foreign language that I took myself, and I use it daily with my kids.
I don't think I've ever met anybody who's as familiar with sign language like that.
Yes.
That's difficult.
My 8-year-old's nonverbal, and so we sign with him.
That makes
And then my other kids, when they were babies, we did baby sign. So
I understand. Nice. Go you. Up next, question number 14.
All right, what are your current job duties?
there's a big range. So the first half of my day, I am a SPED para, and so typically that includes me going into a classroom, assisting teachers with a kid who might have higher needs, making sure that they're getting a copy of the notes or they're getting their modifications, stuff like that. Documenting behaviors, like if the child is refusing their accommodations or something of that nature. Then the other half of my day is where I start facilitating online courses. It's the same duties that any other teacher would have. I make assignments. For the most part, we follow the program. I'm grading papers. I'm helping kids who are struggling with the materials if they are. I'm reaching out to parents for all the different little things, if their kid's falling behind, if their kid's doing really well, or if there's just missing assignments, whatever. Sometimes you need the parents to kind of crack the whip on them. And so,
whenever you're talking about online, are you referring to a program that the school provides, or do y'all
Yes.
use? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if y'all use Google Classroom or if it was something else.
we do use Google Classroom. I post a lot of materials for the kids there, but then also we use currently we're using Duolingo.
Nice. Yeah. It's a good program. The kids like it.
Yes, they're really enjoying it.
Alrighty. Next question 15.
What's something you didn't like about your previous job?
About my previous job, before the one I'm currently at. Okay, my previous job, I left there because it was inconsistent. There's a lot of inconsistency. What we had previously discussed and then what ended up happening, they couldn't give me proper hours. They were just kind of all over the place. And specifically because of my kids and the fact that I do have a child with special needs, we need a lot of consistency in our life. That way, he is able to manage. He had his autism. So providing that consistency helps prevent a lot of meltdowns and stuff like that. And so that brought me to where I am now, where I have really consistent hours.
Yes, consistency is key. Especially with our job, we have a calendar that we have a year in advance, so you know what to expect from that.
Yes.
Up next, question 16.
What is something you learned about yourself at your previous job that has helped you understand yourself?
I have done a lot of personal growth over just the last 4 years. I have come to learn that I like care positions. I'm the oldest of 4 kids, and I'm the oldest sibling, grandchild, all of that. So I think maybe that's where part of that stems from. My grandparents, I grew up with them, and I used to always, it's actually how I got into cosmetology, was I would cut their hair, I would do their toenails for them, do their eyebrows, that kind of stuff. And I think that started that passion, and cosmetology is a care position. People don't always realize that, but it is a care position. If you look good, you feel good, you know, it really
Quality of
does.
life.
Yes. Working in the nursing home, I actually go there still on my free time and do hair there. Getting their hair done, I mean, they get so excited about that, and I'll have them, I mean, they're busting in my door as soon as I get there. They're like, oh, you're here, and they're ready to jump in that chair, and they see me walking down the hall, they'll start hollering if they're in bed. Yeah.
I like that. That's
Yes.
Up next, question number
17.
17. Go ahead, 17.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, so my goal is when my son turns 3 to go back to school. I'd like to go back to school for education. I haven't necessarily pinpointed exactly what part of that, probably sped, but I'd like to be in school, probably still working for some ISD, doing some education work for them, wherever that may be, and just continuing to grow myself and grow my family.
All right, I'm gonna finish off the next one. So what can we do to help you reach that goal? What are you needing to finish that and get your teacher certification?
Looking for ISDs that are providing teachers help with getting certified. You know, I know some of them do, it just kind of varies. My current ISD does provide some of that. However, I do not have enough credits for them to help me yet. Now, when I start working towards that, maybe that's something that will start to happen. So if that's something they'll provide, that's always really great.
Yes, there are some schools that we do reach out to locally to help, especially our paras and aides, move forward with getting that teacher certification. Next, I was curious if you had any questions for me or the committee.
So depending on the school district you're at, me being a para, we typically are paid hourly rather than on a salary. Do y'all pay hourly? Do y'all pay salary?
We've had daily, and that rate is gonna vary based on how long you've been there working and what positions you might pick up along the way, because we do have some stipends for our district, and that can really help out, especially if you do have multiple certifications or you do work in multiple areas of our school. Up next, I did have a couple of questions about the questionnaire. Where did it go? With interruptions, whenever we talk about classroom management, I was curious if you had a system that worked best for you with the people that you work with, and what that looks like with classroom management with SPED, because I know there's a lot of different people who do it different ways, or even have different tools that they use to even just document stuff. I was wondering if you could walk me through, because that's something that some teachers really struggle with.
Yes, so our current district has been under a lot of change just in the last 2 years, and we're still kind of building those systems. I actually created a Google form for us to maybe start using. We're talking about using it for next year, because so far I've just been having to document typing or writing things down for stuff. But creating a Google Forms allows the people who need it access to it, other employees in the SPED department and our administration as well. Yes, exactly. And then with the kiddos, it kind of depends. Some kids just respond better to me than they might their regular teacher. They're a little bit more familiar, a little bit more comfortable with us, and you know, if you're
So
working
you
with,
establish a relationship with
yes,
those
and
students.
especially kids with ODD, stuff like that, or just really bad anxiety, maybe they're just really shy, stuff like that. They're a bit more willing to work with us, and sometimes maybe just going to see them, getting them out of the classroom with everybody else will eliminate some of those behaviors. It can be overstimulating at times.
So like maintaining frequent break systems. in there
Yes,
that they can
yes.
expect.
And then some kids just need to be able to get out of their chair for a minute. You know,
Mhm.
my daughter has ADHD and she cannot sit still. So sometimes they just need a minute to go get a sip of water, you know, go blow their nose or wiggle their toes,
Mhm,
whatever that
mhm.
is, you know, give them like just a few minutes to move for a second, and then you'll probably have better behaviors out of them once they can alleviate some of that motion in their bodies.
That makes sense. And then next, I had a question about, would you be willing to go on class trips with our friends and be there? Because we have a lot of different end of the year activities for our kids. And it can be overwhelming, especially for those friends whenever they get on a bus and stuff. I was wondering if you had any experience with that, or if you'd be willing to do that.
I actually haven't gone on any trips this year. Typically, it's my other duties are kind of in the way of that, but I'm always willing to just kind of do whatever it is that's needed to help our students and stuff like that. I do enjoy going on trips and stuff like that and seeing them have some fun. You know,
Yeah.
I like seeing them have a good time and
Definitely.
things like that, getting to share in that with them.
I was wondering if my board had any questions for her. Maybe something that you had seen that we didn't quite go over.
Would you be willing to come in before or after work to do duties?
I do this, especially this past year. My youngest son unfortunately was very sick. And so I was having to do a lot of that. He wasn't able to go to daycare, so I would have to just come in really early that morning, get my sub plan together, because I don't like to just leave the kids there doing nothing. I'm one of those teachers that just because I'm gone, isn't on my course. You know what you need to be doing. You know, you can be working on this without me. Like if you're really having a hard time, send me a message. I'm at home. I will see it. So I've done that a lot this year, either coming in before or after to make sure things were sorted for kids, or coming in to make sure that the grades are all put in time for report cards and things of that nature.
A question about online different programs. I know with our campus, we use a lot of DMAC software. I was wondering if you were familiar with that.
I'm familiar with it to the point that when it comes to CM, a lot of teachers will assign DMAC quizzes and tests and stuff. However, for my class personally, we don't use DMAC at all. So other than the tests, not really.
Alrighty, and do you have any experience with Skyward?
No, I've heard of Skyward, but I don't actually know what it is.
Would you be interested in learning more about those two?
Yes, actually, DMAC especially.
Yes, there's some information in there. Are you familiar with Hicks resources?
Hicks, so yes, I don't know, you know, it ranges. So I've read over different Hicks for different things I've worked with, but you know, it's different for every grade and class and this and that. So.
Gotcha. I think there was one more question I had. You said connection is what you feel like you're best whenever it comes to this job.
Mhm.
When connecting with students, how do you de-escalate those students? It's not really just the classroom management, but do you have like a counting exercise, or do you just have a certain way that you feel about each student?
It
What would work?
kind of varies for each student. You know, you learn them, and you kind of learn some of their individual things they have going on and maybe why they're acting that way. Sometimes it's just pulling them out in the hall and reminding them, like, first off, let's just take a minute, let's breathe, okay? And once we get calm, like, talk to me, what is going on? Like, why are we, you know, do we need to go get a drink of water? Do you need to go sit in the office for a minute?
Just to take a break there.
Yes,
Getting a
yes.
change of scenery for a second.
Sometimes that can really help, yes.
And with certifications, may I ask what subject or grade level you would like to pursue?
Probably
Is
working
there an
with,
age group that you?
probably working with high school, just because they, I feel like, kind of get overlooked a lot.
It's an intimidating group to try to.
I know, people are always like, you work at high school, oh my God, I don't know, but I really enjoy it. I really enjoy working with the students. There can be bad moments, but I would never say that there's like a bad day or a bad week. You know, there's still a lot of positives, even if there is a thing here or there.
And is there a certain subject that you would like to teach in the future?
Well, like I said earlier, probably SPED or maybe math, science. Those are kind of my favorite avenues. I really enjoy all of those.
All right. about meetings. Can you handle it? Well, can you attend an IEP or 504 meeting with a group setting and parents involved?
Yes,
Have you ever done that before?
Yes.
If you had a problem or issue with another employee, how would you handle it? Sorry,
Shane, you can handle it.
guess I missed that one.
Yes, because we do, it's a large district that we are, and the chain of command in that, we have had to review that with a lot of our new teachers, because we have so many new teachers coming in now. And I know a lot of schools are feeling that as well.
Yes, we definitely are where we're at right now, so.
Well, I'd like to thank you for your time. Do you have any questions for her?
That's it.
Alrighty. Well, thank you so much for coming here. I'm gonna go ahead and end this video. We'll leave here all done. Thank you very much. This is
Those were great
the
answers.
end. I guess I should have had you. Can you hit end meeting for all? Alrighty, we had a couple more questions after looking over the notes that we had taken together. We had some questions about being able to work with others. Have you ever experienced co-teaching or collaborating in the classroom?
Yes, so as a para currently, a lot of the times I'm placed in a classroom with a main teacher already. So depending on what the needs of the kids are in there, we will, I'll kind of like pull some kids over here and work a little bit more individually with them, kind of one-on-one, or, maybe going to see them. It just really varies on what the needs of the kids are and the needs in the classroom are. And then depending on the subject, I'm definitely able to help some of those kids a lot more than others.
Next, what type of work environment do you prefer?
I prefer a lot of structure, but I also like to try to keep things very positive and bright. I feel like kids have a hard time wanting to be at school and, throwing things in like theme days or something like that. It helps. I'm one of those teachers that I go all out for the theme days. I gave myself a fake sunburn this year, and I sang karaoke outside in front of the school for the kids. So
Perfect.
yes, so I love to, make the kids' day a little bit better.
Nice, fun environment.
Yes,
I like that.
but still keeping, there's got to be structure. I like.
Knowing the schedule and that you're gonna
Yes,
have that Monday.
yes.
That can be very difficult, especially towards the end of the year when we have so many activities planned, making sure that there's one thing that everybody gets that we can all follow.
Yes.
Up next, what type of manager do you work best with, or do you feel like you work best with?
I like a manager who's very clear about how they feel about things and what they want. When you're left guessing and just kind of unsure of what the lines there are, it can be very complicated, and then maybe you're getting in trouble for something that you didn't know. Nobody clarified this for you, so I like someone who's very concise and to the point of things.
Yeah, making sure that those expectations are verbalized and you know what to do.
Yes.
Up next, what did you do in the last year to help improve your knowledge?
I have done quite a bit actually. One is speaking with my other colleagues. Some of them have been teachers for many, many years, and they work for other districts and have a variety of different knowledge on their own. So getting information from them and some of the things that they do specifically that works well. And then also on top of that, I've been doing the program that my students are doing. That way I know exactly what they're expecting. So when they come to me and students, they'll try to lie and be like, oh, well, this is happening. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because I've done this whole program. And so,
This is what happened with me, and you're obviously not doing it.
And you're the only one who's having, they'll be like, oh, I did the whole thing and it all just disappeared.
Yes.
Okay, well.
That's funny. Have you ever worked with the program Go Guardian online?
Yeah, oh, I love Go Guardian.
That's awesome.
Yes, the kids, typically as I aid, I always have the teachers add me to the Google Classroom so that I can do Go Guardian.
That's a good thing
And
to know. Make sure
yes,
that
I love using Go Guardian for everything, and the kids are like, oh, you're doing too much.
They don't know.
Making sure you know what you're supposed to do, you know, gotta kick you off of YouTube or whatever.
Mhm. So with reflecting with others, that is something that we would like for our teachers to start doing, not only with the giant turnover that we have, but we do have mentor programs in place in our district to help those teachers, get introduced to what it's like and what the content and making sure that those students are successful, that they're beginning to teach.
The district I'm at now has a mentorship program as well.
Okay.
So first year teachers, they get like assigned a mentor typically in the same kind of subject. Me being facilitating Spanish, the Spanish teacher has been my mentor and she's been really great. She does do one online Spanish course as well. So we're literally working together every day to make sure that our kids are doing the same sort of stuff and working together to just continue to make the curriculum and setting the same class expectations. I actually have almost exactly the same rules she has. She's just said to me and I changed my name, a few things. So, but grading and stuff like that, it's all almost exactly the same. So
That's
that
nice.
when they move over to the next class, they're not like surprised by anything.
There's
No, we've been doing the
there's no
same
gotcha
stuff.
moments, and they're just
Yes,
know what
and
to expect.
Same
with
with the
it.
parents as well. And they're, like, well, that's not so-and-so's rule. Actually, it is.
Yeah, it's right here. We've all
100%
went over it.
is.
So consistency, and you said that you look for
Yes,
that.
and the documentation too. All that kind of stuff is fantastic.
Yes, documents, everything.
In the future, if you were able to give had the opportunity, would you be someone else's mentor?
Yes, yes.
Oh, so you would accept a leadership position. Is there any other leadership position that you would be interested in? Maybe like a group or a student group of some sort?
So I'm considering possibly taking over Stuco next school year.
That's big.
Yes, it's kind of something right now, we're in the process of moving and there's a lot of things we don't know exactly yet for where we're gonna be. But I am considering maybe doing Stuco, stuff like that.
That's nice.
I actually currently lead my kids' Girl Scout troop, so.
Oh, so you have experience with
Yep, I
leadership
do.
in that in the years, so youth leadership. Another thing, you said that you will do duty. Do you prefer like morning duty or evening duty, or is there a preference in that?
Honestly, I guess it's probably afternoon duties. Morning duties with my one son, he has, because he's autistic, he goes to school later than normal just because the hustle and bustle when everybody's coming in is a little too much for him. So he actually goes in late, and so I arrive a little bit later than everybody else. And then in the afternoons, my husband gets off and he's the one that handles the kids in the afternoon. So typically afternoon duties are a little bit easier for me to handle, but I've done both, we just take it as we can and make it work.
That was gonna be my next question. Are you flexible in this position? Are you able to help whenever we need help? Like if you need a class covered, will you
Yes.
split a class perhaps and be there with them for that?
Yes, I have definitely helped out when other teachers, like for instance, have been in crisis, and we had a teacher who had to be rushed to the hospital in the middle of the day. Had to help out with taking some of those kids and
Yeah,
handling that situation, or
we're still gonna be there.
Yeah. So in that instance, it's not like you just have a backup sub sitting in the office, but these kids gotta go somewhere, so taking the overflow is always something that typically.
Definitely.
Yeah.
On short notice too.
Yes, yes.
That's hard to do. That's why reading lesson plans and being able to say, oh, this is that teacher really wanted to accomplish in this day. What can I look up real quick, or what can we do to help that happen?
Yes.
Did you all have any other questions?
No, I don't think so.
No. Alrighty, I believe we are done. Go ahead and end the meeting, please. All right, the hiring board had a few more questions that they would like to ask. We're going to start with the parents' question.
What do you do if a parent disagrees with the feedback that you're giving them?
I am very good with documentation in my classroom, and that has been my biggest lifesaver when it comes to dealing with parents and their concerns. I do have a list of rules and procedures that they sign at the beginning of the year, so often I just refer back to that. If it's something that the parent just seems like there's nothing that's going to make them happy, I often let them know that if they'd like, we can conference with the principal or their child, preferably face-to-face if that's what needs to happen. But typically, my documentation has always been the biggest lifesaver there.
Sure.
Hold on, one question about the face-to-face. Have you ever had a meeting with a parent and it did get a little confrontational?
Not in person, thankfully. Like I said, typically, once I'm able to prove to them via the documentation that I tend to keep, it de-escalates things from there.
Nice.
Typically, they're a lot more rude to me over the phone rather than in person. Yes, so that's been my biggest lifesaver is documentation.
Nice, thank you. And then next, the question about coursework.
What approach would you take when a student refuses to complete their work?
So if the student's refusing to complete their work, one, I'm going to document it. That way I have something on file that when it comes to grading and the parent wants to know, like, why didn't this get done, whatever. So I'm going to document that they're refusing to do their work. I'm going to try to talk to them. I'm going to try to pull them outside of class and be like, hey, you know, what's going on? Why don't we want to do our work? Whatever the situation. Sometimes, you know, the kids, like, it doesn't matter what, they just want to sleep. And, or they'll like to tell me, well, I'm going to do it later. And so I just try to document that. If they're refusing to do their work and they're being disruptive, then I'm probably going to send them to the office if they're disrupting the rest of the kids. And then also I'm going to be calling at home, you know, be like, hey, your child was refusing to do their work today. They were being disruptive, whatever the situation is, informing the parents what was going on. And also, you know, might ask, you know, is there anything going on at home maybe that I should be aware of?
A lot of changes that sometimes you don't know.
I had a couple kids this year that experienced some like really traumatic deaths, unfortunately, and the parent, I didn't know, but their parent was like, actually, this just happened, and they're taking it really hard. They're not really telling anybody or talking about it, and so I was able to better help the student after talking to their parent from that point on.
And is that something, if you do find that there's something going on at home, that you'd be able to work with the student as far as maybe coming up with some type of plan to get their work done at?
Yes,
Counseling.
I like to think that I'm a very, what is the word I'm looking for? Flexible, I guess. I'm very, very willing to work with my kids to help them be successful. I fully understand that we have lives outside of school and work and things happen. And especially at their age, they take there's so many emotions and they take that stuff really hard. So helping them navigate that. And if I do have concerns, you know, I'll reach out to the counselor or the parent, whatever the situation is, or even, you know, talk to the parent about maybe reaching out to the counselor if that's something they want. Not all parents are down for that sort of thing, but just kind of figuring out what's going to work best for them and giving them the best opportunity to succeed.
Most definitely. Some questions about STAR testing. Are you familiar with STAR tests?
Yes. I took STAR tests when I was a kid. It was not that long ago. And then currently I help monitor bathrooms for STAR testing.
Okay.
And I do have to sit through trainings and stuff like that.
You've been through the training.
Yes. I'm currently working summer school, and that's what I'll be doing for summer school is monitoring bathrooms and whatnot. So.
Have you experienced like mock testing or benchmark testing on campus?
We've done mock testing earlier this year, at the very beginning of the year actually, and I helped monitor for that as well.
Monitor. You got STAR testing. Training. As far as campus safety, tell me what would make you feel safe on your campus? What standards do you feel like need to be taken care of for you to have a safe environment?
I really like right now is the campus I'm on. We do have guardians on campus.
Okay.
I don't know how many. We don't know who the guardians are, but we do know that there are guardians on campus. Where I went to high school, we actually had like full-time campus security, and that was
SRO officers.
yes. Of course, it's a much bigger district, so I do think that having a guardian or an officer on campus at all times really does help. Though, me personally, the schools I went to, we actually had some incidences occur, and having people there to first respond really helped de-escalate the situation to begin with.
That's good. With your previous school, What previous schooling have you had?
Well, I graduated high school, of course, and then I went to cosmetology school. And I've done a bunch of different things with both of those. In high school, I was an athlete. I did some different clubs, stuff like that. Same with cosmetology school. We had kind of like a pep squad, and we ran the school pep rallies. Basically, we had those every Thursday just to keep it fun. We'd come up with theme days, stuff like that. We'd do competitions, and
Still have theme days.
yes, your phase would compete and win and things of that nature. So
With cosmetology, would you be interested in the high school area of opening a way for those students to experience what that's like?
yes, I really would. The district I'm at now, they've kind of, I've had a couple staff members ask me about it. Unfortunately, our district is just not financially able to do something like that. The district I went to school at did have a program, but it was very expensive. The students had to pay for it out of pocket, and it was a couple $100s.
That's not easy for.
No, and in the district I'm at, not something that's capable, and that's really unfortunate because kids in lower income areas don't have the same
That's a trade
opportunities.
that can be really exploited, I guess you'd say.
Yes. Even though I
very
am
fulfilling
working in
role.
special education, like I mentioned earlier, I still go to the nursing home and I do hair there. And
Yeah, so having
stuff like
that
that.
communication, collaboration,
Yes.
keeping up with your regular friends,
Mhm,
and checking in
yes.
with them. I like that. Do we have any more questions?
What would you say the hardest part about your job is in special education?
In special education, the hardest part can sometimes be just like figuring out a difficult student. We had one student that originally when I was hired on, they were hoping that because I am a little bit of a daintier woman, that she would take to me. She wouldn't talk to anyone, but she does talk. She talks at home. Apparently she talks when she's out in public, but when it came to school, she didn't talk. They were really hoping that she would take to me maybe and start making some progress in school. And with her, unfortunately, that was just, she didn't, it was very opposite effect of what we were hoping for. And she ended up having to get moved and to a different facility for some better help. And I hope that she's doing well now. But we know not being able to help a kid overcome something is always hard.
It's hard for any educator whenever
Yeah.
you see them go, that's out of your hands. To end on a lighter note, do you have any hobbies that you'd like to tell us about?
Hobbies, I'm really big into outdoors. Me and my kids love to go like on walks and hikes and stuff like that. Me and my daughters, we do Girl Scouts. We're just also very big in spending time with our family. Cosmetology is kind of a hobby and a professional in the same instance. So I also enjoy doing that and spending time with people while doing that. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for your time. I do believe that we can go ahead and conclude this video. Thanks again, Miss E.